Welcome to the Zombie Story Zone. Tonight, we're diving into the chilling tale of Zombie Inquisition, where a medieval witch hunt unleashes a nightmarish plague of the undead. Brace yourselves for a story of terror, betrayal, and survival, as an Inquisitor faces a curse that threatens to consume an entire village. If you love spine-chilling zombie thrillers and tales that keep you on the edge of your seat, you're in the right place. Hit that like button to support us, subscribe to never miss a story, and click the bell icon so you're always the first to hear our latest horrors. Don't forget to share this video with your fellow zombie enthusiasts. Your support helps our channel grow, and your comments mean the world to us. What do you think of tonight's story? Do you want more medieval zombie chaos, or should we explore another dark corner of the undead universe? Let us know below. Stay tuned, stay safe, and remember, the dead may sleep, but their stories live on here at the Zombie Story Zone. Now, let's dive into the tale of Zombie Inquisition. You've been warned.
The night was blacker than pitch, the moon a mere sliver of pale silver in the heavens, struggling to pierce through the dense fog that swallowed the hills surrounding the small village of Unswick. It was the kind of night that promised nothing good, and Father Ulrich, the Inquisitor, knew it too well. He had been sent to Unswick under the Pope's decree to root out heresy, and rumors of witchcraft had tainted the air like a festering wound. When he arrived, he found a village hollowed by fear. Crops had failed, livestock perished, and children vanished into the forest, never to return. The people whispered of a witch named Morgana, who lived at the edge of the woods. Father Ulrich had heard these tales before. A scapegoat was always needed when despair loomed, and witches made convenient targets. Yet, something about this village gnawed at his resolve. The decay felt deeper than superstition, the air was thick with something ancient and malevolent. His band of inquisitors had captured Morgana 3 days prior. She was dragged into the village square, bound and gagged, her dark hair matted with blood and mud. She didn't fight or plead but instead locked eyes with Ulrich as they prepared her pyre. Her gaze was not one of fear but pity. "Repent, witch!" Ulrich had bellowed as the fire began to lick at the kindling beneath her feet. "You fools," she hissed, her voice raw and cracking from disuse. "You think you burn a witch tonight, but you only burn the lock that binds the door. What nonsense do you speak?" Ulrich demanded. "Doom," she whispered, her lips curling into a grin even as the flames consumed her. "Doom upon you all." By dawn, Morgana's ashes had scattered into the wind, and the villagers were already attempting to return to normalcy. Yet, Ulrich could not shake the weight of her words. They hung over him like a storm cloud, a promise of something he couldn't yet comprehend. The first signs. It began with the grave of a boy named Thomas. His mother had visited the cemetery to lay flowers but returned screaming. Ulrich and his men followed her back, weapons drawn, to find the grave split open, the coffin shattered. "There's no body," she shrieked, clutching at Ulrich's robes. "He was here last night. I swear it." Ulrich's men exchanged uneasy glances. Desecrated graves were not unheard of in troubled times, but this felt different. As they inspected the cemetery, the villagers began to gather, muttering and casting suspicious glances at one. Then the screaming began. It came from the village square, and the inquisitors arrived just in time to see Thomas, or what was left of him, lurching towards his mother. His eyes were sunken, his flesh pale and mottled, his mouth slack and drooling. "Thomas," his mother whispered, stepping toward him. "Get back!" Ulrich shouted, but it was too late. Thomas lunged, his teeth sinking into her neck with a sickening crunch. Blood sprayed across the cobblestones as the villagers erupted in panic. Ulrich drew his sword, cleaving the boy's head from his shoulders in a single, decisive stroke. The body crumpled to the ground, twitching violently before finally going still. "This is no ordinary heresy," one of the inquisitors muttered, crossing himself. Ulrich could only nod. The plague spreads. By nightfall, 3 more graves had been disturbed, and the villagers were barricading themselves inside their homes. The air reeked of decay, and strange moans echoed through the streets, growing louder as the hours passed. Ulrich and his men patrolled the village, torches in hand, but the sense of dread was palpable. It wasn't long before the undead began to emerge, clawing their way out of the earth, their rotted bodies moving with unnatural purpose. The Inquisitors fought valiantly, their swords and maces smashing through bone and sinew, but for every undead they felled, 2 more seemed to take its place. "What curse have you unleashed upon us, Morgana?" Ulrich muttered as he drove his blade through the chest of a particularly aggressive corpse. The answer came in the form of a figure shrouded in shadow, standing at the edge of the village. It was a woman, her face obscured, but her voice was unmistakable. "You lit the pyre, Ulrich," Morgana's voice echoed through the night. "Now reap what you have sown." Ulrich charged at her, but she vanished into the fog, her laughter lingering like a ghost. Desperate measures. By the 3rd day, the village was a charnel house. The few survivors had barricaded themselves in the church, the thick wooden doors their only defense against the horde outside. "We cannot stay here," said Brother Martin, Ulrich's second-in-command. "They will break through eventually." "And where would we go?" Ulrich snapped. "The roads are overrun, the fields crawling with these abominations." "There must be a way to stop this," Martin insisted. "Morgana's curse must have a source." Ulrich thought back to Morgana's final words. She had spoken of a door being unlocked. Could she have meant it literally? "The forest," Ulrich said, his voice grim. "She lived at the edge of the forest. Whatever she did, it must have started there." Into the woods. Under cover of night, Ulrich and a small band of survivors slipped out of the church. They moved quickly and quietly, their torches extinguished to avoid drawing attention. The forest was a place of nightmares, the gnarled trees twisting like claws, their branches reaching down as if to snatch them. Strange symbols had been carved into the trunks, and the ground was littered with bones. Eventually, they came to Morgana's hut, a crumbling structure surrounded by a circle of stones etched with runes. In the center of the circle was a pit, its depths shrouded in darkness. "What is this place?" Martin whispered. "Hell," Ulrich replied, stepping closer. Inside the hut, they found books bound in human skin, jars filled with unidentifiable substances, and a cauldron still bubbling with a foul-smelling brew. "This must be the source," Ulrich said, gesturing to the pit. "If we destroy it, perhaps the curse will end. Or it will unleash something worse," Martin warned. Ulrich ignored him. Gripping his torch tightly, he stepped into the circle and prepared to throw it into the pit. Before he could, the ground beneath him erupted. The final stand. From the pit rose a monstrous figure, its body a grotesque amalgamation of decayed flesh and twisted branches. It towered over them, its glowing eyes filled with malice. "Fools," it growled, its voice like the grinding of stone. "You cannot undo what has been done. The dead belong to me now." Ulrich and his men fought with everything they had, but the creature was nearly impervious. It swatted them aside like flies, its massive claws tearing through armor and flesh alike. Desperation drove Ulrich to his knees. He began to pray, not to God, but to the saints and angels, to any force that might be. As he did, he noticed a faint glow emerging from the ruins on the destroy the stones, he shouted. They are finding it here. The survivors rallied, smashing the stones with their weapons. Each one shattered with a burst of light, and with each burst, the creature shrieked in pain, its form flickering and growing unstable. When the final stone was destroyed, the creature let out an ear-splitting roar before collapsing into the pit, dragging the remaining undead. Aftermath. By dawn, the village was silent. The undead were gone, and the survivors emerged from the church, dazed but alive. Ulrich stood at the edge of the forest, staring at the smoldering ruins of Morgana's hut. He felt no victory, only exhaustion. The village was broken, its people traumatized, and he knew it would take years, if not generations, to recover. But the curse had been lifted, and for now, that was enough. As Ulrich turned to leave, a faint whisper carried on the wind froze him in his tracks. "This is not the end, Inquisitor. Only the beginning." He tightened his grip on his sword and walked away, the weight of his actions pressing heavily on his